Hey everyone, it's your girl, Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh. And today I am talking to you about Dissecting a One-Winged Bird from the Massachusetts-based band A Constant Knowledge of Death. And A Constant Knowledge of Death pieces together elements of post-metal, sludge, maybe some touches of death, and then tastefully dives into aspects of hardcore as well. This record is equally cerebral as it is energetic and punchy. It guides you through varied places, and in that process you are going to experience deeply so many emotions conveyed, and it's thrilling in that way. The instrumentals here are just so commanding, and then the vocals bring forth such an intriguing presence and a flexibility that make them such a hella joy to listen to repeatedly and pick up new nuances. The opening cut, Breach Glass Horizon, starts with these brooding guitars that claw at you with these little melodic runs pulling out in various directions like little tentacles. And the vocals will meet in with these scarring howls paired with these flickering drum patterns. The track has this density to it that you feel almost literally like you can actually sense the weight. These spoken word parts over these more open and sparse instrumentals are just as vital as the more harsh and heavy bits in ushering in these exceptionally intense moods. The band does a really good job of carrying through these constantly building soundscapes, guiding you through various tones and timbres and sonic approaches. It's really one of the record's main strengths. There are these nasty, mosh-ready and slow down sections with these chunky, stomping riffs and these deliciously mechanized harmonics. The band also begins to introduce these more off-kilter, mathy instrumentals that do a great job towards the late end of the track to create this great sense of unpredictability. On the hallowed Castration of Throne, you get these dark, scathing guitars and snarled vocals that sound like they are truly out for blood. It gets the hair standing up for sure. And I love some of these more dissonant, flickering licks that do so much to bring you into this sense of pure unease. I like some of the triplet things that the drummer does in almost perpendicular fashion to the more angular guitar parts. It's really electrifying how that kind of all comes together. And still, the band makes room for some of these more haunting clean vocals over these very cinematic instrumentals. The band does so much in so little time, and I'm all about that. They never overdo it. And God, the way the band is able to pair these piercing screeches with these deep guttural growls, I adore that. Speak 3 seems a bit more ambient in scope. These more slow, kind of doomy guitars rest over some glitchy electronics. It's a track to really sit on and reflect to a bit. But over this, there is this super, pissed and intense, half spoken word, half screamed dialogue that it leads the way into these more groovy, chugged riffs. The whole thing is just very well composed. It takes its time and leads you through this primordial swamp. On You Will Be Conscious, these more marching, melodic guitars keep building in epic scope behind the vocals. The band has a real keen understanding of theatrics that I enjoy, but at the same time, in between, there are these atonal pick-throughs that reject making this an easy gratification. They demand and ask you to dig deeper to find the nuances. It's not going to be satisfying on a cursory glance. And for those that are willing to do that with this record, I think it's deeply rewarding. But eventually you just sense this drop, and all of a sudden these erupting, swelling guitars rush in with these violently rolling drums. Ooh, it gets the adrenaline going. It's what a moment, especially with the sheer passion and emotion the vocalist interjects here. And then you also get these gnarly, cagey, slow down sections at the end are just, yes, yes. Bleed for You is just a minute and 45-second onslaught of just absolute unbridled aggression. It even takes on maybe a bit of a power violence tone at some points. ACKOD. A Certain Knowledge of Death. Hey, a self-titled track. Hell yeah, why not? I love that. This is the longest cut on the record, the closing track, at over 11 minutes, and it's also maybe its most abstract and progressive, which is a lot of odd little cuts, starts and stops, little slicing riffs. It's just really fun to try and follow along with here. The heavily hardcore inspired runs here are just oozing with defiance and energy. It never feels like just a generic breakdown. I know maybe some of you hear hardcore and are just kind of prone to assume that. No, that is definitely not what's happening here. It's much more. And the band plays with these extreme contrasts in speed, sometimes going at a lightning pace just to slow it down and then repeat. It makes it feel very chaotic in a very good way. Overall, this track possesses a towering noisiness and chaos that still feels very contained and just full of unbridled feeling. And then the horns and the violin are just added ingredients and flavoring that I didn't know I wanted, but it just takes the atmosphere to a whole nother level. It's advanced stuff. The last few minutes of this album just continuously swell into these grandiose, punishing peaks. This is not something you can just put on in the background. It won't let you. Dissecting a One-Winged Bird is a very energetic and very thoughtful metal record. There's a ton that happens here, yet nothing seems to be wasted. It's all deliberately pieced together, and it's a record with an unapologetic aggression, but also leaves room for a somberness and some deep introspection. The songwriting capabilities are just so here. It really sets it apart. Nothing on this record sounds like it just came from somewhere else. They definitely have a unique and singular thing going for them on this album. And hey, those are my thoughts. If you like this review, tell me, hit the like button. It'd mean the world to me if you would consider subscribing, leave a comment. I love getting to engage with those. I have a Twitter you can follow. Link to that is in the bio of this YouTube channel. And hey, keep it metal. My name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh, and I'm signing off.